I'm Gweakles, and today I'll be doing the Draw This Again challenge, this time featuring something that I drew about a year ago, and it was Gamer Girl Peach. I drew her in a mixed media sketchbook, and today I'll be drawing her in a watercolor sketchbook. I'll be using my Prismacolor Colorase colored pencil and rose, a pencil sharpener, and a kneaded eraser. First, I start out by just making a couple of little teeny weeny gesture sketches to try and see if I can refine her pose a little bit. Because while I did like the pose that I chose for her last time, I wanted to improve on it, as is the point. You'll notice that I have a little bit of sketchadoodles on the left-hand side of my sketchbook, and Skeledude, my little unicorn. I am going to try and turn him into a pin, and you guys came up with awesome names for him, and I am just going to call him Skeledude or Dude because I think that's great. But thank you guys so much for giving me suggestions for him, but he's going to be my guy. He's going to be my dude. Sorry, I'm so silly. But as you can see, I just genuinely sketch everything out with shapes. You'll probably hear me say that a lot because that's how I do it. I use shapes to build all of my drawings. I will say, as per the usual, that I always am a messy sketcher and I draw way too hard and way too messy. But I'm trying to improve. There are a lot of other things that I want to improve on, so I think at the end of my drawing process I always go, darn it, I did the thing again and I messy sketched again and I drew way too hard. Thankfully though, this this Canson this Canson watercolor sketchbook, which I recently found, which is so freaking awesome, is very forgiving and the paper is amazing. But I'll get into that a little bit later. But as you can see, I laid out just, I'm not doing anything too detailed. I'm just putting in like shapes for her hair, her head, her nose, her eyes, her mouth, where her little Game Boy is gonna be, and where her legs are gonna be. I didn't want to do crisscross applesauce because I thought it was a little weird and I wanted to balance her out a little more. And then I was gonna put her in like a little squatty position, but then I'm like, that's really weird. Who just squats and plays Game Boy? I know that when I'm playing Pokemans that I am not usually in the most comfortable position. I'm actually, hunched over right now and I have really awful posture. But I worked through it and she's just chilling out, sitting with her leg crossed, and I end up giving her like some little toadstool mushroom pillows that she's chilling out on, just for fun. But yeah, so I break everything down into general shapes and turn things as necessary. Yeah, I'll turn it there because I wanted to get the direction of where her feeties are going to be going from that general side. But nothing too detailed, just shippy shapes so I can see where everything's going to go and remind myself, don't draw so hard and messy. And then I am just going to lightly use the kneaded eraser to pick up some of my pencil and then go in and start redefining the shapes for her hair and her head and her bangs and little details from there. So that way you don't just put in all the details and then you go, oh my gosh, oh no, I did all the details for this and my head's too big or my eyes are too big or something's out of whack. So that's why I go in and I put the shapes in first. A lot of people, I see people start off like with the face and then work their way out in the details. You do whatever is good for you. You find your work in progress, and whatever is going to be best for you, you gotta go in and you have to, you have to work it out. But for me, I found that doing shapes is the best. So right now I am using the Canson not the mixed media. I keep saying that. You guys are used to me using the Canson mixed media sketchbook because I ranted and raved about how awesome it was. Well, let me tell you, I was a Michaels and let me rephrase that. I was not a Michaels because I don't need to be buying anything because I don't have any money because I'm poor and I need to be, saving up to take care of myself and stuff for Comic-Con because I have a table at Camp Bay Comic-Con and I'm really excited. Anyway, I was getting a haircut and then I was like, you know what? I need a new sketchbook because the little baby moleskin sketchbook is not my fave. It's making me sad and I want to draw a little bit bigger. And then I was at Michael's and I was gonna get good old mixed media, and then I saw it sitting there on the aisle and it was like watercolor, and I was like, no freaking way. I hadn't seen it before. It was $1 more. The paper is a little bit heavier. The mixed media sketchbook is 98 pounds and the watercolor sketchbook is it's 140 pounds, which is much more durable, especially for watercolor, so no warping, and it works just as nicely as the mixed media sketchbook. Aha, and here I also bought myself a couple of new brush pens. These are Prismacolor brush pens, and they are a little bit expensive. They're like $2 to $3 a pop. Typically brush pens are running like that. I'm gonna apologize right now because this shot is out of focus. I'm really sorry. My camera kept shutting down on me, and I think it was because the battery was being fidgety, but yeah, I apologize. So this little bit of footage might be a little bit out of focus, but I got some new brush pens because I have the Micron brush pens and a couple of other brush pens, but the colors are really weird. They're either really bright or like they don't mesh well together is a problem. So like I want to do colored outlines, but finding a set of colors that really go together, like you could have greens and blues and what have you, but they'll be really bright, or some of them will be really dim and they won't go together. So I got a couple of the Prismacolor brush pens for like skin tones, or like more of that red that's not quite so poppy. And I'm going to use that for now. I might get back into using some of the Microns because I was using watercolors to line some of my pieces in color. Was trying to do colored pencil. The watercolor I felt was too watery and inconsistent, and then the colored pencil sometimes just wouldn't show up. So one of my goals in my artwork right now is trying to find out, a way to line my work when I don't want to do that harsh black, and I want to just give it, some color to tie things in and maybe not make it so harsh like this. So I was trying something new, and you know what? Haha, the Canson watercolor sketchbook rocks. The normal mixed media one that I was getting was about $9, and this is about $10, and it's it's awesome. I'm in love all over again. So you can basically do mixed media in this too. It's just the paper's a little bit heavier and thicker and way more durable, so it handle things a little bit more. And the paper is actually really forgiving, and it's actually way better than the moleskin watercolor sketchbook. I'm sorry if you like moleskin, but I'm gonna tell you how it is. And yeah, I was really disappointed in the quality of the paper of the moleskin sketchbook. But anyways, moving along. So I just outlined her in the brush pens, and then I did a little bubble so you could kind of see like what game she was playing, and she's playing Super Mario Brothers. And then I went and outlined her little toadstool mushroom pillows, and the one behind her has some eyelashes because there should be some eyelash toads up in there. And then I'm gonna let that dry. But these brush pens are awesome because they're not going to wash away. You can watercolor on them. So if you're like me and you like to ink first and then watercolor later, then you are good to go, my friends. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with my watercolors. This time I'm using my Utrecht Watercolors. Utrecht is a brand that I used while I was in school, and they were store brand, and I think they got bought out by Dick Blick, so you can go to utrecht.com or Dick Blick and basically find the same thing. They're a little bit more expensive than when I got them. I'm also using a couple of various Van Gogh watercolors, as well as a few Winsor Newton Cotman watercolors. Now, Cotman is a little bit cheaper part of the brand because the colors are not as opaque because they're like student brand, I guess. So people ask me a lot what I use for my watercolors, and I use various amounts, mostly Utrecht. But as you can see, they go well with the brush pens, and I'm just going to layer just block in my undercolors and paint away and just try. And I was trying to follow the same color palette as my initial piece. I changed a couple of things up other than her pose. I actually gave her some leggings this time, and then with some rips in them, because she's cool, she's edgy. She's a girl and she's a gamer, and then she has leggings with rips in it, so she's edgy. I'm so sorry, I'm such a dweeb, but yeah, I just wanted to spice her up a little bit, and I think the drawing portion improved a little. I'm really trying to refine my style when it comes to drawing people and keeping it clean. If you see like my shadow or like my hand go off camera, that's me just mixing and refilling my brush. It happens. I mix a lot of my colors. I don't really use them all out of the tray necessarily. I like to mix my stuff. But I'm going back in with a second wash of color because if you really want things to pop, you typically have to go back in with another wash. If you get the more expensive watercolors, you probably don't have to do that, but you know, I'll go back in a second time because I don't have the monies. But I think this came out really cute. I'm actually really happy with how this came out. The Prismacolor brush pens worked really well. The Watercolor Canson Sketchbook worked really well, and I'm loving it. I'm cruising away. I'm going way faster and drawing in here than I was in the Watercolor Sketchbook for Moleskine. And I feel kind of bad because it was a gift from my friend, but I'm still going to use that when I can for like practicing and such. But yeah, so I am just going to go in and fill in all this stuff, and then I will line her later. But I like to work in a couple of details and just build in my stuff and things, and I'm really excited because I think I'm going to use her as a print for Tampa Bay Comic-Con, which I'm also really excited about, and going back and forth about what I want to bring and what I want to have, because I'm like, oh no, what if people don't want to buy this? And then I'm like, but I want to make this, and then I'm like, but I don't have money. Money is like the worst thing ever. I understand we need it for currency, but it's like, I feel every time that I catch up, like something happens. And I'm so sorry that I haven't been as active on YouTube as I was before, guys. Thank you so much for bearing with me and for all your wonderful comments. I do my best to read them all, and it really makes my day when I come home from a rough day at work and I see your wonderful comments and that my art means something to you. So I really appreciate it. If I don't get to reply to your comment, please don't think that I haven't seen it, because eventually I do get around to reading them all. Work has just been very hard and very rough, and it's been draining the energy out of me. So by the time I get home, I'm just so drained. And then I want to just, like, I have no energy to do anything, but I've been trying to work through it and just work on my stuff and get ready for con. So I'm gonna have to power through and find another happy medium schedule. Also, you know, like, life has that way where it's like, oh, the stuff in your car breaks down, and then you have to go to the doctor, and I have all these bills, and it's like, oh man, it was so close, it was almost there. But whatever, I'm just gonna draw through it and read some comic books and play some video games or something. Anyway, you can see that with more layering, the colors begin to start to pop. And yeah, I'm just going through a variation of pinks and purples and blues with her, and I have a lot of fun with this. To finish her off, I will go in after this with the Signo Uniball white gel pen, and then that will complete her. But I am going to let you guys finish watching this because I have run out of things to say, and I'm not going to continue to blabber on like a silly head for the rest of the time. This video is a little longer than usual, but that's because a lot of people requested to see the drawing portion of when I make a piece. It is unfortunate that it takes a little bit longer to make, and the video ends up being longer, but I want to make everybody happy. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the process of how I made this. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this piece. I had a lot of fun, and I really like this meme because I liked going through my old pieces and I was inspired to try and do better, and I encourage you to do the same. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of this video. Please leave me a comment or a like in the description down below, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye!